clock to our right, reading 12 minutes. Also reading 6-0 in favor of the home team. That's Frederick. The Warriors switch fields. They'll be moving from left to right towards that clock in the south end zone. Ballman turns, fakes the one way, and gives to another running back. It is. Looked like Casey Rivera on the give. He picks up 3 yards, and it'll bring up a 2nd and 7 as the clock continues to run.
Yeah, Frederick's offensive line is just moving Fort Morgan off the line of scrimmage. It looked like he got hit at the line of scrimmage, but the line of scrimmage had moved 3 yards downfield.
Credit to the fans that are here and the students as they're getting into it, trying to stay warm. The give goes to Miller as he tries to find room off tackle to this near side. He will have nothing there as Caleb Sills in on that tackle with a number of other players for the Mustangs. Armando Lopez, TJ Schneider in there. Jose Miranda throws his name in that hat as well, of course. And it'll bring up a 3rd and 7 as there was no gain on that play.
Yeah, really big 3rd down stand here for the Mustang defense. They need to keep it long enough that Frederick doesn't go for it on 4th down.
The ball at the 46-yard line of Warrior territory. Oh, they'll call it a 3rd and 6 officially here at the stadium. Ballman looking to pass, so our first pass attempt, he rolls to the far side, has his man and overthrows him. Intended receiver that time. Casey Rivera.
Well, that's just what the Mustangs needed, and now a penalty in the backfield as well. Looks like holding on 4th and 6. I think they'll decline it, and that's what they will do.
The Mustangs do decline that holding penalty, and that will potentially bring on the punting unit. Yes, it will. The punting unit on, Retchless on to attempt another kick here as the Mustangs hold, and the Warriors face a 4th and 6 here.
It's really changed into a field position game. They know that Fort Morgan's not going to be able to move the ball.
The punt falls well short. And it will be down at way back. Okay, so it was touched by a Frederick player and bounced 10 yards down the field, but the officials will spot the ball just outside the 30-yard line, call it the 34, and 1st and 10 for the Mustangs on their own 34.
Yeah, the punter slipped on that punt and hit a low kind of line drive bouncer and hit one of his coverage guys. Wasn't even aware of it. It hit him from behind and a break for Fort Morgan.
Heavy backfield again for Martin. Some man spread wide this way. That's Anderson. The give goes to Alexander. He runs off tackle, gets around him, and has just a man to beat. And he'll be brought down by the safety as he crosses the 50-yard line. We'll call that a gain of 15, 16 there.
Yeah, nice little run. He bounced it outside, and then it was a race to the boundary, and the Frederick defender doing a good job of using the boundary as a extra defender and took the right angle and got Alexander out.
The 16-yard gain by Alexander, one of the longer plays that we've seen out of the Mustangs tonight. As it's been tough sledding in the middle of the field here, trying to move those big boys of Frederick on the D-line. Again, a man to this near side, spread wide. The give goes inside. A pickup of a yard. I believe Godo on that carry. Yes, it was. Godo on the carry. He picks up a yard and a half, so it'll be a 2nd and 9.
Yeah, Fort Morgan has a couple good plays and then a very short play. They need to be a little more consistent.
Fort Morgan finding themselves in unfamiliar territory on the Frederick side of the 50. Martins again gets the snap, turns and pitches it to Fitzsimmons, looking for some room to run on this near side. He'll be tripped up, though, before he can really gain the edge. The tackle made for Frederick by Zach Gomez.
Yeah, on that play, he ran about 40 yards, 30 yards to get to, taking a long way out of bounds. Or not out of bounds, excuse me, but to the sideline.
Oh, he gains officially 3, 3rd and 6. But like you said, Kevin, he did come all the way from the far hash to this near sideline. The ball spotted on the near hash. Martin's looking to pass. He's got Schneider. He's looking, and that ball's overthrown. Good coverage that time, as Martin's really didn't have anywhere to put that ball, so the overthrow isn't a bad play, as Schneider was doubled up. And we'll see Zwedzig come back out here to punt on this 4th and 6.
Yeah, I mentioned that the passing game can be positive in this kind of thing if your receivers have good footing and run good patterns. Maybe at the high school level that was an overstatement.
It's tough to get your footing, especially with how cold it is. Now we've got a fake for Fort Morgan, and they snap it to the up man, and it will be just short. The up man getting the ball, Bryce Mesney. Zwedzig fake like the ball went over his head, but Mesney unable to pick up the 6 yards that he needed, only gets 5, and they'll turn the ball over on downs. So the fake punt, I think the first we've seen out of Fort Morgan this whole year, goes for naught, as the Warriors will take over at their own 41-yard line with 8:35 on the clock remaining here in the first half. The give goes to Rivera. He spins off of a man, dives through the middle, and will be brought down just shy of the 50. He'll pick up 8, and he'll bring up a 2nd and 2.
Yeah, nice run by Rivera there. Just the momentum swinging a little bit on that fake punt that didn't quite get there.
Ballman will line up with 3 men in his backfield, the man flanking him to this near side. The give goes to Miller. He dives through the line, gets the first down, and will be down just outside the 40-yard line. A good game there on 2nd down, and the ball will be spotted at the 42 of Mustang territory.
Yeah, Miller, that big kid, just busted through, got through the first level, and picked up a nice gain before Fort Morgan could stop him. Fort Morgan's got to get a good stop here on this play.
7:44 and counting in the half. Ball in the middle of the field at the 42-yard line of Mustang territory. Ballman under center, fakes the give, will run the trap play inside, and for nothing as Dalton Hall gets the give, but he'll be wrapped up by Jose Miranda, who busted through the line and drops Hall for a loss. And it'll bring up a 2nd and long.
Yeah, that time Fort Morgan defensive line won the line of scrimmage and hit him in the backfield 2 yards deep.
2nd and 12 here as the ball moves back to the 45-yard line. Ballman turns, hands it off to Rivera, who again is brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Cody Davis, Jared Bohm on the tackle, the sophomore, getting the tackle again behind the line of scrimmage. No, they'll give him forward progress of a yard. Back to the line of scrimmage is what they'll say, and it'll bring up a 3rd and 13.
Well, I must have made the right call. I told them they needed to have a defensive stand on these plays, and one play for loss of 2 and another one for no gain.
We'll see the defensive front line up for the Mustangs, as they'll have too much time taken, and a timeout will be called by Frederick as they look at this 3rd and 13 play. This timeout is brought to you by Edwards Right Price Market and Flowerland, located at 1201 East Platte Avenue in Fort Morgan. Stop by and get what you need to refuel on game days. 6:19 showing in the first half here. 6-0 the score. The Warriors lead. You're listening to Mustang Football on B106 and B106.com. 3rd and 13 for the Warriors from their 45-yard line of Mustang territory. 6:19 shows on the clock. Ballman sends a man in motion. That is Dalton Hall. The pitch goes to Casey Rivera. He goes across the left side. Dodges a couple tackles. Breaks through. He is off to the races. 15, 10, 5, and touchdown. Rivera just waited out the tacklers for Fort Morgan and finally found his way through.
Yeah, Fort Morgan didn't wrap up that time. not a great defensive effort. They had him several times, and Rivera wisely just kept his feet and kept pushing off the tacklers till he broke him the free and had about 30 yards of no contest.
45 yards to carry as a 3rd and 13 play goes for a touchdown for the Warriors. They'll go for 2 here to try and make it an even 14. 3 men in the backfield for Ballman, who's under center. Now he'll send Rivera in motion to the far side. The pitch will go to the deep man who gets around the side. That's Hall, and he will be inside the pylon, and he's in for the 2-point conversion. So 14-0 the score here. 6:06 shows on the clock here in the first half. Mustang football brought to you by Tito Charlie's. See Tito Charlie's for a great used car or truck today. If you don't see what you want on the lot, they will find it for you at 700 West Platte in Fort Morgan. 14-0 after the Rivera 45-yard touchdown run and the Dalton Hall 2-point conversion.
Yeah, Fort Morgan does a really good job of pinning him back and getting 3rd and long. Then they just have a student body left, and to Frederick's credit, it was a well-conceived play. They got a lot of bodies out in front of Fort Morgan off that left side, but Fort Morgan should have had them for about 8 or 9 yard gain instead of a 45-yard touchdown.
Retchless will tee up the ball at the 40, approach it, put his foot to it, and it will fall just short of the return man for the Mustangs. He'll pick it up at the 5, on a bounce. That's Cody Davis. He'll get to the 25-yard line. So a return of 20 yards, and with 5:59 remaining here in the first half, Fort Morgan will try to get something moving here.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer for Fort Morgan is going to be. Their inside running game shows a few flashes. Their outside running game is not there at all. And the passing game has never been a strength for them all season. So they're going to have to find some answer here to try and get something going.
Martins will be under center. 3 men in the backfield. Anderson spread to this near side. Now a man comes in motion. That's Davis. So we'll see the option go to Davis. He catches a high pitch, gets around the 30-yard line, but there is a flag down. Likely to be a hold against the Mustangs. It came from the sideline. And that will probably negate that play and move the Mustangs back.
Yeah, Coach Chisholm's got to just be frustrated over there, finally get a decent play going, and then have a penalty, hold it back. Of course, maybe it was the hold that sprung the play, and that's why the officials are out there trying to make it fair. But, boy, this puts Fort Morgan in an almost impossible situation. It's going to be second and, like 22 or something.
It will be 10 yards from the spot. So the ball moved back to the 14-yard line. Well, it'll be a first down still with the penalty. Alexander gets a hit. He runs through the middle and will be brought down after gaining a few yards. And that'll bring up a second down play, and it's still a long ways to go for the Mustangs to get that first down.
Yeah, they gave 4 yards on that, so what do you do on 2nd and 16 when you haven't had any success on anything you tried?
Well, the longest play that I can recall in this first half was the 16-yard carry by Alexander. He'll get the ball again, run off through tackle the right side, and will be brought down. The ball, I think, might have come out. The ball did come out, and Frederick recovers the football. So Alexander fumbles the football, and that puts the Warriors in good position to add to their already 2-touchdown lead.
Yeah, just what we didn't want to have happen is happening, and Fred, the wheels are coming off the Fort Morgan bus, and Frederick, being a good team, is going to try and pound this in and put it out of reach.
5:07 before the half, and a costly turnover for the Mustangs. Ballman goes to work from his 23-yard line of Mustang territory. He's going to keep it himself on a sweep play, run around this right side, and he'll dodge a few tackles, 2 tackles to be exact, and Yuli Hernandez, the safety, finally coming up and bringing him down, but not before Ballman hits the the first down, gets inside the 10-yard line, and Fort Morgan is going to take a timeout. Harrison Chisholm all the way out past the sides. Oh, now we have a hold. So there was a flag down and a hold against Frederick. Now we'll see what happens here. If Chisholm decides to change his mind on the timeout, I think he'll still probably want to talk it over. The hold will go from the spot of the foul, and now we will have a timeout. Fort Morgan football is brought to you by Platte Valley Hearing Center, 417 Main Street in Fort Morgan. Seeing your hearing to its very best. We'll step aside as well as this timeout is taken by Fort Morgan. 4:56 to go in the first half. 14-0 Frederick leads. You're listening to Mustang Football on B106 and B106.com. Not often does it happen this way, Kevin, but you pointed it out during the break. The holding penalty was 10 yards from the spot, and after Ballman's carry, he had gained enough for the first down, but the Mustangs elect to take the penalty as the give goes inside for the Warriors. Not much going there as the man falls forward for a couple yards. That was Miller with the carry. But it was instead of a 1st and 10, the penalty negates the run. It was a 1st and 7 situation, so now we see a 2nd and 4 after the 3-yard pickup by Miller after the 1st and 7 run play. That's a number you don't call out too often. 1st and 7. No. Ballman, looking to his mates on offense, sends Rivera to the other side this time as now he sets his line. He'll go under center. He's got Miller and Hall in the backfield. Rivera fakes the one way, counters back to the other way, and will be get off the tackle and brought down at the 10-yard line, maybe inside the 10-yard line. Hard to tell with the snow on the ground over there. There's no numbers painted on this field here, and with good reason. It would be all for naught. But it is a first down for Rivera, and it'll be a 1st and goal from the 7.
Yeah, Fort Morgan not having an answer for what Frederick's doing. They're doing a nice job of mixing up running power, running sprints, and then that time it was a crossbuck, fake to the right, and Rivera came back to the left.
See Rivera motion to this near side again. Ballman will keep it himself, go through the middle of the line, and be brought down. He'll gain a couple of yards on that carry, and it'll bring up a 2nd and goal play now. See where the officials spot the football.
Some motion on the backfield, looking like it's going to be one of those sweeps, and then Ballman just dove it up inside.
2nd and goal from the 5, so a 2-yard pickup by Ballman on the keeper that time. Again, the tight formation. We've seen the same formation out of Frederick now for the last 2 drives. The give goes to Miller as he tries to get between guard and tackle, but he'll be stood up by the Mustangs D-line. I think he gained a yard or so there. The ball inside the 5 from where the far official is. Call that the 4.5-yard line, so it looks like they'll call it a 3. So it'll be a 3rd and goal from the 3.
Fort Morgan's defense trying to make him earn this touchdown, at least the last 10 yards of it.
The last 2 plays have gone for 2 yards apiece, and if this play goes for 2 yards apiece, then Frederick will be short. Hall gets the pitch. He steps back from the tackler and is into the end zone. Another score. A flag comes in late, though, from the official, and it'll be a hold against Frederick. So to get the touchdown from Hall, a holding penalty goes against Frederick. And, boy, that's a big blow for this Warriors team as they were looking to make this a 3-score game. They break the rules and are moved back.
Yeah, the Frederick coaching staff not real happy with that. But I think looking at it, possibly that's why they're opening such big holes in there, Alex.
You would think there would be a reason. The ball will be moved back to the 14-yard line, so a 3rd and goal from the 14. Ballman gets the snap from under center, gives the ball to Rivera. He's got two blockers out in front of him, dodges a couple tackles, dodges another tackle, and will be shy of the goal line. That'll bring a fourth down, and you'll expect Frederick to go for it here, not settle for the 3. And really, you've got nothing to lose, as Fort Morgan hasn't been able to move the football effectively at all. And if you don't get it here, you're making the Mustangs move 90-plus yards to get to the end zone.
Absolutely. And with these field conditions, this is definitely the right call for Frederick.
That was a 10-yard gain on 3rd and goal from the 14. Now the pitch will come this way. Ballman keeps it himself, and he's trying to get it to the end zone. Leaps and is in for the score. A leaping effort for Ballman on a 4-yard touchdown run. And that pushes the score to 20-0 with 1:48 showing on the clock. Keep in mind, all of this happening with the fumble by Alexander that gave Frederick the ball on the 23. Retchless on to attempt the PAT, puts it up, and it is true. 21-0 the score here, 1:48 before halftime here in Frederick as the Warriors lead. We'll step aside. You're listening to Mustang Football on B106 and B106.com. Frederick able to convert on the turnover, the fumble from Alexander, and now they push their lead to 21-0. Mustang Football brought to you by Ackley Building Centers. Your one-stop center for projects around your home, office, or yard. Ackley Building Center, located at 1402 Mill Street in Brush. The Mustangs will get the ball back here as see what the official is over here on the near sideline. The head coach for Frederick really tearing into this sideline judge over here.
I don't know how you can complain when you're up 21-0 in these conditions. And, there's been a couple holding penalties. But, on a cold night when your kids are slipping, they're going to be more likely to try and get a hold of someone's jersey.
Retchless puts a boot to it. It'll be fielded inside the 5 to 3 yard line there by Cody Davis. Runs up through the middle, dodges the tackler, gets across the 40 to the 45, tripped up a little bit, dives across the 50-yard line. A good return of 50-plus yards there for Cody Davis. So that puts the Mustangs in really good territory. They'll spot the ball with the officials at the 49 of Warrior territory.
I was thinking with 1:40 left on the clock that really there wasn't much the Mustangs can do. But now with the ball at the 50-yard line, I think you do have to open up the playbook and try and get down and get something before halftime.
Yeah, I don't think you can just run. Well, we'll see run plays anyways, but I don't think you can just settle for the gives inside. I think you really do need to try and get something going here if you're Harrison Chisholm and the Mustangs. Anderson to this near side, 3 men in the backfield, a whistle now, as we will have a timeout taken by Frederick. So the Frederick Warriors, with a 21-0 lead, take their 3rd timeout of the half. We'll keep it here. Mustang Football is brought to you by Buildings by Design. The most important thing to buying a new building or starting a new design build project is picking the right company to build it. Call Pat Walter, Travis Lefevre, or Jared Samples for your free bid. 970-842-5837. Or visit them online at buildingsbydesign.com.
The Frederick head coach that you were talking about, I don't know if all the people at home know, the head coach here is Thad Lear. Thad, a former coach, assistant coach at Fort Morgan back about 20 years ago. Originally, he grew up out of Windsor. His dad, a great coach for the Windsor Wizards over the years. Thad being able to take a program here in Frederick and build it. But he has some familiarity with the Mustang program.
As you said, that has led this Frederick team to a 6-2 record, and depending on results tonight, they'll be looking at a league championship game against Windsor next week. Alexander gets the game bust through the right side of the line. He'll get across the 45, be down just shy of the 40 of Frederick territory, so we'll call it a gain of 9. And it'll bring up a 2nd and 1 on the Alexander run.
They seem a little disorganized out here. This is when you need to be on the ball and using all the time you have.
Actually, we'll call it a 2nd and 2 here is the gain of 8. Anderson to this near side. 3 men in the backfield. Martin's under center, turns, hands it off. No, fakes the handoff. Throws to Anderson, who's got it over the middle of the field. And it'll be down as he makes the flying grab just across the 25-yard line. So a pass play of 20 yards there for the Mustangs. Well, we'll call that 15. And the clock runs. 57 seconds showing on it. Martins gets the play from the sideline, his first completed pass of the game. He'll go under center, and we'll give on the trap play to Matt Godo, who goes through the middle of the line, picks up a few more yards, and Martin's trying to rally the troops here. Gets his mates back up to the line, and he will spike the football and stop the clock. So that'll bring up a third down play, 3rd and 6, as Godo got 4 on that carry.
Yeah, Fort Morgan down in scoring territory with 26 seconds left. Probably time for a couple tosses into the end zone.
We'll see if Martins has the confidence to toss it, or if vice versa, if Harrison Chisholm has decided to let Martins throw the football. They'll say the ball is spotted at the 20-yard line. We'll see Anderson to this near side, 3 men in the backfield, and now a delay of game penalty. Boy, that hurts. Move back 5 more yards.
Yeah, common mistake of high school and even college football teams that you spike the ball and you think it's like a timeout, and then you take your time instead of realizing it's just like a regular play clock.
26.7 shows on the clock. Martin's under center, brings a man in motion, will look to pass, slips a little bit, throws the football, and overthrows his intended receiver. That's Schneider. And we'll have a 4th and 11 play after the 5-yard mark-off for the delay of game. So we see Martins trying to air it out. Lost his footing on his drop that time. And wasn't able really to get that back foot planted to throw the football properly.
Right. And with 4th down, even though it's 11 yards to go with only 22 seconds left, turning it over on downs is not a worry for Coach Chisholm.
But you'd like to get the points here if you are the Mustangs. Martin's looking to pass. He'll roll to the right. Throw has 2 receivers in the area and overthrows them both. Hit as he threw was Martin's, and the Mustangs will turn the ball over on downs.
Similar with other Fort Morgan games, first pass was incomplete, then he got a nice 17-yard pass, and then none of the passes have really been close to any of his receivers since then. But you got to credit Frederick. They've got 6 guys back there on pass coverage, and there really wasn't anyone open for him to hit.
Well, we'll see what Frederick elects to do here. They are in the victory formation. They will take the knee and will run off the final 14 seconds here in the first half. Both teams will head to the locker rooms here just outside the stadium and the south end zone. So at the end of the first half of play here in Frederick, the Warriors lead the Mustangs 21-0. When we come back, we'll take you through some of the other action happening around the world of sports, not just here in football, but some other sports going on as well. There's a Game 7 being played in the World Series. If you haven't heard of that, we appreciate you listening to us instead of watching that or listening to both of them. So we'll take a break. It's halftime here in Frederick. 21-0, the Warriors lead the Mustangs. You're listening to Mustang Football on B106 and B106.com.